Limited to 181 units for a 2023 model year, Toyota is making a very limited production vehicle. Today, I've got a 2023 GR Circuit Edition Corolla, and we're gonna be taking a close, in-depth review to see what makes this vehicle so special versus a regular Corolla hatchback. My name's Aiden with Upper James Toyota, and today I'm gonna be taking a closer peek to see what Toyota has done to make this vehicle so exclusive in Toyota's new GR branded lineup. We're gonna take a closer peek, see what is so interesting about this vehicle. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys have one, if you're in the market for one, or if you've always wanted to get into one. I'm always interested to see what you guys have to say, and let's check out this car. Let's talk a little bit of history with the hatchbacks in Toyota's lineup. So back in the day, the Matrix was offered as a hatchback. Then it moved to a Yaris hatchback. Then introduced the Corolla IM, which was a hatchback. Then the Corolla hatchback, and now the most performance-based out of any of those vehicles, the GR Corolla, which is only offered as a hatchback model. Now, this being a 2023 model, this was offered in 3 different trim levels. You had a core, you moved up to a circuit, which is this one here, and then top, which was a Morizo edition. Now, I've only ever seen that vehicle once before, and has a couple interesting things that this vehicle doesn't have. For example, like no rear seats to really cut down on weight because it is such a track performance based vehicle. But this one here kind of gives you the best of both worlds. It's the middle point out of the 3 of them. It's going to be one of the easier ones to get, if I can even say that, seeing how this is only limited to 181 units versus, say, the Morizo, which is limited to only 40 units. So getting your hands on one of those was very, very difficult, and you actually had to enter a lottery to actually be selected to actually get behind the wheel of one. So very interesting what Toyota has done for a very limited production vehicle. But then there's this one, which I think is the best one to be buying. It's got the best performance based, the best features on it, and some very interesting things only specific to the circuit. Now, we're gonna be starting up front, a 1.6 liter turbo 3-cylinder engine. Now, that's the first time Toyota's ever introduced that powertrain. And rightfully so, it makes 300 horsepower and about 273 pound-feet of torque. Now, those performance numbers do not change between the 3 trim levels. Horsepower stays the same along all 3 of those. The only difference is you move up to a Morizo edition, which was the super limited one of 40, and I believe you got an extra 32 pound-feet of torque, so nothing crazy versus the core or the circuit, but still a little bit more of an improvement for the most track-focused version of this vehicle. Now, looking at the front end, this is featured in heavy metal, which was a new color Toyota released in 2023. If you're gonna ask me, it is a very good color option for this vehicle. It's actually only one of 2 color options you pay extra for. This one and Supersonic Red, which is interesting what Toyota has done, but I would definitely spec mine out the exact way this one is here today. Now, looking at the front end, the hood bulges only specific to a Circuit Edition. You look down below on the front end design, and I think that the front end definitely looks a little bit more aggressive than, say, a standard Corolla. And if you're looking at something like the GR badge on the front, they have definitely showed a lot of the GR or Gazoo racing features on the outside and inside of this vehicle, and I will touch upon all of those little features that you see on this vehicle. Now, if you're looking at the front end, yeah, there's GR there, and you probably say, Aiden, where's the other GR? You actually have GR4 written on your intake, which you can actually visually see. If you kind of get down, you can see it written across, which means Gazoo Racing 4, meaning that this vehicle is all-wheel drive, which is funny because yes, it is all-wheel drive, but you have different modes of where you can actually put the power down on this vehicle. You can have it say 100% to the rear, 0 to the front. You could have 70 to the rear, 30% to the front. You could go 50-50. There are different options in case, say, you're driving this in the snow, you want to drift it on a track, or whatever you want to do. The driving, different experiences you can have on this vehicle are basically endless with a different, system that Toyota has added to give customers that different option. Now, If I am going to be talking about the front end, I do like that there's lack of plastic on the front end, and they've used heavy metal, the color of this vehicle, on the front splitter, all throughout the side and on the back of the vehicle too. I think Toyota's done a very good job at making this vehicle visually look stunning. And that's gonna be my honest opinion about this vehicle. Now, I was very close to actually buying one of these. And the only reason I didn't was that I just couldn't justify the price tag one of these came in at. And that's coming from someone who works at Toyota. I thought that for an everyday vehicle, it's practical, it's got space, it's all-wheel drive, it's manual, makes a lot of power. Those are all things that I was gravitating towards, but I just couldn't wrap my head around saying, I'm gonna be spending 55, 60 grand to drive a Corolla hatchback. And that was just the one reason and the only reason why I just didn't end up pulling the trigger on one of these. And I've driven this one before. It's used on our lot right now, and they're a crazy amount of fun to drive. But I am happy with my decision. I do drive a GR 86, and I was more than happy, spending the dollar I spent on that vehicle, and I just couldn't justify spending that kind of money on this vehicle. Now, seeing one in person and driving it, do I regret my decision? Maybe slightly, because I do like driving this vehicle. The driving feel of it, the performance you get out of this vehicle is crazy from a company like Toyota, who typically, other than the Supra, didn't really make a whole lot of performance-based cars. So they've done a really good job to introduce very practical and affordable sports cars. I just couldn't wrap my head around this one here, unfortunately. Now, other than that, looking at the front end on this vehicle, a couple things I do like. I do like the functional fog lights. They're going to be situated in the corners of your active front grille, which is cool to kind of keep the vehicle nice and cool, because some vehicles have active aero or active cooling, or some of them just look like they have it. Well, this one actually looks like they have it, and it does actually perform that way too. So I'm happy Toyota has gone that route. Now, I do like this new headlight style on the GR Corolla, which they did introduce on the Corolla and the Corolla hatchback in 2023. You now have your ambient light that comes all the way across, which is gonna be for your turn signals and four ways. I do like how it comes all the way across versus just this corner, which it actually used to do. So I think it's cool, because that's a new feature on a small improvement that they've done on the Corolla before the redesign happens in the next coming years. Now, exclusive on this vehicle versus any other Corolla hatchback that we offer, you're gonna see a lot of GR badging on the side of this vehicle. You'll be seeing one situated right here by the driver's side door. You get down and you see the Circuit Edition for this model year came with GR red brake calipers with these massive rotors on the front end for all the braking power if you're ever going to be tracking this vehicle. Now, on a Circuit Edition, these 18-inch multi-spoke black alloy wheels will be coming wrapped with Michelin Pilot 4 tires. Now, that's a very grippy tire, and I have that on my personal car. So I do like how they added a very grippy tire directly from a manufacturer that you're not having to upgrade to a package to get. Those come standard on a Circuit Edition. If, for example, you're one of those lucky 40 people who got a Morizo Edition, these will be coming wrapped with Michelin Pilot Cup 2 tires, which I think is insane, seeing how those tires are offered on some very powerful Mercedes. You even look at, luxury hypercars, for example, or supercars like Ferrari, McLaren, any of those manufacturers, that is a tire that some of those vehicles actually come with too. So it's crazy to think that that tire is on a Corolla, and it's also offered on, say, a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, which I think is a really interesting thing Toyota has done. If you're looking at more of that GR badging, you take a closer peek onto the rear of this vehicle, and you'll be seeing, just like your front intake, GR4 is written on your rocker panel. Again, another small touch that Toyota has done. And I also think it's pretty cool that you jump onto the inside in the driver's side seat. There's actually a little plaque on your door handle that basically tells you it's a limited production vehicle, only with 181 units. So again, it's pretty cool that you feel special jumping in and out of your GR Corolla. Now, if you're one of those lucky people who actually got your hands on a Circuit Edition GR Corolla, my favorite feature on this vehicle is gonna be coming on the roof. This is a forged carbon fiber roof. Toyota is really trying to save weight on probably their most performance-based vehicle that we have basically ever offered, I think. This compared to, say, a new Supra, they're great too. I know they make more power than this does, but I think cosmetically they have done very, very cool improvements on this vehicle that basically add a little bit of that wow factor from a manufacturer like Toyota. Now, the roof is not just exclusive, but you also get this all black, which is a gloss black, not matte, spoiler on the rear trunk. And again, I think that kind of makes the vehicle look a little bit more sporty, and is something that the only thing I'd actually ask them to change would be to make this a forged carbon wing. Now I know, saving on the cost side on this vehicle, they didn't want to add a carbon wing because that would obviously increase, what they're actually spending and what they have to put to produce one of these vehicles. But I still think just the black one looks great. The only thing I would say is to make this a forged carbon fiber spoiler, in my opinion. Now, the exclusive things on this vehicle are even said onto the back as well. You have yet again another GR badge with the most interesting thing they have probably ever offered on one of our vehicles, which is a three-way exhaust. So you've got a center tip mounted directly in the middle of your rear bumper, and then two other ones on both corners of the bumper, which again, I think is pretty cool. They're actually functional as well. So some manufacturers have these interesting looking exhausts on the rear, but they're actually not functional. It's just a little cover, say, and the real exhaust tip is further back. I think that what Toyota has done to make these functional and to also make it look pretty appealing, in my personal opinion, they've done a very good job. The only thing I'm going to be arguing with Toyota is this matte black piece of plastic. I think it's just such an eyesore. I wish that this was gloss to match the spoiler, or even better, match the actual color of the vehicle, which is heavy metal. I think that's the only thing I will be complaining about, and the one thing I wish Toyota changed when making this car. All right, guys, now taking a peek onto the inside of the GR Corolla Circuit Edition. Now, I know this is a very limited production vehicle, and they definitely have made a couple enhancements on the inside to make it feel a little bit more exclusive. Number one is going to be all the GR badging. So you get it on the back of your key fob. You will get it on the bottom of your steering wheel. Your start-stop button also has GR on it. These seats, they're Alcantara and suede leather material. They also have it. Now, the seat portion of the GR badging is only exclusive on a Circuit Edition or, say, a Morizo for a 2023 production model year. But on the inside, I will say I'm a little underwhelmed from what they've kind of done on the inside of one of these vehicles. I think that your digital display on the front is really cool. It's only exclusive to a GR Corolla. We don't offer this tachometer and digital screens on any other vehicles with this sort of layout. But the main eyesore for me is just going to be your center console here. I think that everything in the center, minus the actual 6-speed manual, which this vehicle is only offered in, you can no longer get a Corolla hatchback in manual. So that's the one thing that I could tell you you're in something a little bit different. But other than that, your wireless charger, heated seats, and all of your climate controls with your infotainment in the middle here is all the same as a regular Corolla would be. So I wish they would have done something just a little bit different to kind of distinguish this versus, another Corolla hatchback that we have. Now, if you're someone who likes simplicity and doesn't need a whole lot of crazy features on the inside, this is a very driver's focused car. Everything that you need on the inside of the vehicle is directly in front of you. You've got a G meter, you've got where all the power is going on the vehicle, which you actually can toggle with this button down here. You can select where the power is actually going. So right now it's 60 in the front, 40 in the rear. You could also split that 30 front, 70 rear, or 0 in the front, 100 rear. So you can drift this. I've done it before. It's very fun. But again, it's kind of exclusive to just this model. And I wish that they just would have added a little bit more for people getting into one of these. Now, I do like a few standard things that are in a Circuit Edition, like a JBL sound system, which is our top of the end for an audio system, which does sound very good. Other than that though, everything else doesn't really scream, anything crazy to me. I like the steering wheel, it's heated. It's also a different layout than any other wheel that we currently have in our lineup. We've got a couple buttons down here by my left knee. A heated steering wheel is nice to kind of have if you're ever gonna drive this, in the winter time. It's a nice feature on most cars that they do offer these days. The one thing that I think is interesting that they added on this is a system called IMT. Now it's a little button here down by the heated steering wheel button, which is basically like an auto rev matching system. Now, someone like myself, I've driven manual for years now. My personal car is also manual, and it doesn't have that feature. And I actually like how it doesn't have that feature because, the only time I've ever actually been driving my personal car thinking, wow, I really wish it had it, is only bumper to bumper traffic. And I don't drive in a lot of bumper to bumper traffic every single day. It's maybe, you know, once a month, if I'm ever heading into Toronto, for example, that I'm ever really in that kind of traffic. But other than that, that's the only time I'd wish I had that system, because it is very, very smart. And you know, you put your clutch in, you downshift to third, it rev matches perfectly for you. It's almost like driving automatic, but you're actually still going through the gears. Now, with talking about the gears in this vehicle is very interesting, because when you put your clutch in, you go into first, they're actually a bit longer of throws, I find. It might not look that long when I'm actually doing this on camera, but this versus a GR86, which is the car that I personally have, is that the system does feel a little bit different. It's not the same gearbox, and the throws definitely feel a little bit different. Now, you can get a short shifter, you can, you know, get something installed that makes it feel a little bit, you know, more refined to your liking. That's just my personal opinion on it. I think where the bite point is on the clutch on this vehicle is also a little weird. It's a little bit drawn out where it should be a little bit shorter, I think, just for the performance side of this vehicle. Now, obviously, both of these vehicles do come with rear seats. The Marizo edition, one above this circuit, doesn't come with rear seats, but they are very, very practical. You do have a lot of space. If you ever had 4 people or even 5, which you could fit, you can fit in here comfortably. However, I think most people that have this vehicle is not going to be, say, a family car. Sure, you can put your family in the vehicle, but I think it's going to be more exclusive for people wanting a fun weekend car or to track this vehicle. And with that being said, this specific unit was someone that I worked with here. His name is Adam. He had this vehicle for about 2 years. He's got a family. He drove this on the weekends, maybe to Fortinos, a couple small things here and there. He bought this brand new from us in 2023, and I can tell you this car has 1,127 kilometers on it. So not a whole lot of driving on this vehicle, but again, that's okay, because it's specific and it's a very, you know, very, very small market for one of these vehicles. And since they're so limited, it's cool that it wasn't driven 100,000 kilometers in a year and a half for say. It's actually very, very, very low mileage. So if you're in the market for a used one, this is here and available right now. Not too sure how long it will be here for, but it is here just in case you're in the market for one. All right, guys, there you have it. A 2023 GR Circuit Edition Corolla. Now, if you're one of those lucky people to get one of these back in 2023, MSRP on this vehicle came in $53,990. Obviously, you have to add freight and PDI, your licensing fees, tax, and any other dealer charges on top of that, but it's a pretty good bang for your buck of what you are getting for a practical, performance-based hatchback. If you guys have one or you're in the market for one, you can still get these to this day. They're offered now with an automatic transmission as well, just in case you do not want to have a manual version. So they are keeping this in the lineup, and I think this vehicle will be doing well in the next few years on the market for a new performance-based hatchback, because I know some manufacturers like Ford with a Focus RS do not offer that vehicle anymore. So if you're in the market, definitely come check one of these out. This is here on our used lot right now and is for sale. So if you have any questions or you want to call us about this vehicle, give us a ring. We're always here to help you guys out. Again, my name is Aiden with Upper James Toyota. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of our future related Toyota content, and we'll check you guys out in the next video.